Hey guys, this is Jaegerchere. Welcome to today's tips and tricks episode. So most of you have already asked me either in the comment section or reached out to me through Steam and asked me to do a beginner treaty guide for the new players. So here it is. By right, we should have the Chinese treaty guide by today, but then I thought this one is more important because I keep play with uh, some players. I mean, especially when you play solo, you will face lots of these players because they basically either don't have any idea about treaty or they have wrong cards, like such as the advanced meal card or the this mining card, which only affect for the mines, or even the advanced hot air balloon card, and so on. So the thing I wanted to discuss with you for today's episode is that firstly, in treaty games, the most important thing uh, that you play a treaty game is your deck. So no matter how good you are and whatever you do, if your deck is wrong, you will lose the game. Unless your enemy is like noob or they lose connection or whatever. So by right, you should lose a game if you have a such a deck. I mean, it's a wrong deck. This one is a copy of a deck that I get from a treaty match. So I was playing with a guy. He was my teammate. So he had this deck. I don't know why. But then I just thought it's better to copy this so you guys can see what is a wrong deck. So in your treaty deck, you usually don't want to have any unit card like the villager card or like this card. This card is infinite, of course. You might say it's infinite. You can send it throughout the game, but then 10 pike is not worth it. Usually, the only infinite cards are decent that are placed for H4. Like for example, this card is a must card, so any card that is like infinite native card, you should have it on your treaty deck. It will be really effective because it's extra population. You won't have to worry about your population. So imagine having 200 pop full, and then you can just send this card. It will be 210 by theory. But then since they are natives, their population doesn't count in your game. So make sure you will have such a card in your deck. The reason I choose French to show a wrong deck is because later I'm gonna explain like the steps that you should do during the treaty game and what you should do, what you shouldn't do. So the gameplay is with French as well, so that's why I choose French, so you will have a better comparison. So whatever card there is, like let me go to the economic section. So and then the other thing I see, some players like even inside the map there is no sea, they will have like they will have this card in their deck. So there is no reason, because as you can see, this one is only for fish and whale. So there is no use for this card in a map that you are not able to use water. So make sure you will have different set of deck in your for each civ that you are playing. So you can either set these decks by just looking through the YouTube videos. I have already posted, I think for all of the civs, I have already posted a gameplay. So you can just refer to the civ that I've uploaded and then copy whatever card that I'm using in your deck as well. Or you can just look through some other good players like Zivaria or Floco. so you can just refer to their cards as well. So the other thing I noticed some players will do is the resource crate. Just remember, the resource crates are not worth it if you have them in your deck, unless if you are playing, let me see, if you're playing with India, they have infinite 1000 and I think it's 1200 wood infinite card for H4. And then like other civs that I can example is Inca, they have again infinite wood card for their H4. So whatever infinite card that is for H4, usually it's worth it, but not always. Okay, let's say for example uh, okay, let's just example for, I mean, for French deck, having two infinite falconet, in my opinion, it's not worth it, because horse artillery is usually better option compared to falconet, because they are faster, they are more mobile. So it's better to use horse artillery instead of falconet. So there's no use to take this card. And then for each card that you use, you will as you can see, you have maximum of 20 card space, so you cannot add on more, so it's only 25. So each card that you use will limit your deck lesser, so you have to choose your deck wisely for each game. So these are some example for French. You can just keep that in mind. For example, this one for normal treaty game, this one, if I have a good native inside the map, then I will use this card, because French have a good upgrades for the nats, 3 upgrades here. And then this card is for all ranged infantry, so they have a decent deck for nats. And then this one is for water. If you're playing in a game that you have access to water, make sure always make sure to check your if you plan to use a water game, I mean your water deck, make sure to check if you have the access to the water first, then you select the deck. How you can check is basically use your explorer at age 1, then just pat him through the water. I mean just let him explore near the water. So then and after that you can just select a wall with your villager, because it's the lowest wood cost building that you can check. And then place it, just select a wall section, and then move around the water and see if you can build the wall near the water or not. If you see that it says during the treaty game you are not able to access this area, I think it's some message like that. If you see something like that, don't select a water deck, because it's a waste, because as you can see it's 2 carding space. Okay, and then the other thing that I've noticed, again, some players use ships as a shipment, so that is wrong for treaty game. And then this card, you might say it's like 65% HP for villager. Again, it's not really worth it. So because you have lots of other option with French, since I'm explaining this regarding the French, so you have lots of option in French, I mean better option to take. And then again, for the resource upgrades, make sure you check. I mean, you can just go to a card. I mean, if you hold your cursor, you can just see what is the passive of the card. So when you send this card, it will increase the gather rate for the mines only by 20%, and also gather yield for a mine by 20%. So this one is just for the mine. So if you gonna do the mining, this card gonna let you mine faster, and then that is it. Same goes for this card. This card is for hunting haunted animals and berry bushes. So if you use this card, is only good for hunting animals and berry bushes. That's all. So you usually don't want to have these cards except a few exceptions. I think the only exception is Lakota, because they gather faster from the hunts, and then they have a bunch of options with their I mean, their game strategy is just to use the hunting animal, so that's why you have to use these type of hunting animal upgrade. But other than Lakota, in any other civ, you shouldn't have these two cards in your treaty games. And then same goes for this, and cards like this that is only for hunting animals and mines. This card is exception because this card is called economic theory. So most of the European civs have this card. As you can see, again, just go to it, wait, and then you will see the passive. As you can see, is 10% for all the gathering, even though it says hunting animals and then mines, but then it still have for other resource gathering as well, such as from farm, from trees, from estate, which is the plantation. So make sure you will have this card in all of your decks if you are able to get it. I mean, if the civ that you're playing have this card. And then so what you want to have in your deck is just all these economical upgrade for long term, such as this. As you can see, 25% for state, even though it has mine, but the state is the important part. So 25% for state means the plantation. This one, 15% for meal, 15% for meal. And then again, this card is 20% for all food gathering, which is meal, hunting animals, and whatever. So again, this card is a must. This card is a must. These two are for the meal, so is a must. And then these cards are for the plantation, is a must. So make sure you will have these important economical upgrade in your deck, except for a few exceptions. So what I suggest, if you are a beginner, just look for the deck that either YouTubers or like pro players or the top players suggest. So just follow their deck as your reference. So yeah, this is regarding the deck. And then you might say, why not two infinite villager? Again, you can train the villager throughout the game. You have 40-minute game, so there is no reason to have this card in your deck, because the reason it is a waste of space. So make sure you will only have the infinite card for the H4 units. I mean, if you want to take, but mostly this card, I mean, all the native infinite cards are useful. Okay, so this is regarding the deck selection. And then let me just show you what should be your game plan. Okay, so again, when the game starts, make sure you don't AFK. So I have already uploaded a game that I played with Portuguese, and so for that match I was almost AFK for 2 minutes. And then if you watch the match, you can see I'm just rushing everything, even though I've managed to control the water on that map, on that game, and also managed to gather my resources, set everything all right. But then there was a mistake that I did, which was I was not able, I mean, I forgot to upgrade the third upgrade for the wood cutting from the market, and then that cost me quite a bit. So when you forget to upgrade a market upgrade, you will be slower in the gathering rate. So usually you want to have all of the upgrades from the market, unless for example, if you're playing on a water, is a different scenario. So all these are for later. I cannot cover everything in one video because it will be lengthy, so I'm just gonna give you the basic things that you should do. So always when the game starts, make sure you don't AFK, otherwise you will fall behind. And you have to rush. Then usually when you rush in something, you will mess it up. So make sure you don't do that. And then so usually when the game starts, make sure to collect all of the resource that is spawned in front of your town center. And then after you gather the resources, usually you will get some resources to train villager. So then after you gathered all the resources, make sure to constantly train the villagers until you have enough to age up. Okay, so don't say like, okay, I have 8 villager, that is enough, I just gather slowly until I age up. That is wrong. So what you should do is gather these resources, set these villagers to let's say for French, their villagers cost food, so I need food to produce villagers. So set these villagers to food. Make sure to gather all the foods from the hunting animals, because when you upgrade through the market, the hunting animals usually have faster gather rate, except for Japanese allies, where they can gather from berry bushes fast. So yeah, just gather these. Usually what you should do is build one house, so your population limit will be increased to 20. So if I just set all these together resources, when I hit to 10 population limit, I cannot build more villager or any unit. So always make sure you will have enough population to maintain your villager production. So for age 1, what you should usually will get 200 200 wood with most of the saves, except few save where you can get lesser or higher depending on what save you're playing. But usually always build a house first to increase your population limit, and then after that build a market. So then, and then also make sure you will train villagers through your town center. Okay, so again, if in case you don't know how to set a villager to go on a assigned place, let's say you want them to go for hunting, or you want them to go for a tree or a mine. So what you do is select the town center, and then while it's selected, you just right click on a resource that you want to gather. By this way you will set a waypoint for the unit or villager or whatever. So even for your barracks, stable, artillery foundry, whatever building that you want the unit that is coming out to go for a place, you just select the building and then right click on the place that you want it to be. Okay, so during the game you don't want to have ideal villager. So I've already explained this on my other tips and tricks video. You can just refer to that. If you have a ideal villager, it will show up here, or it will show here. As you can see, it says 1, means I have 1 ideal villager here. Or you can just press on here and then it will select the ideal villager automatically. The other thing that you could do is use the hotkey, which is dot. So if you press dot, it will select the ideal villager as well. Okay, so again, the game flow is very simple. The reason I'm gathering wood and coin is because I want to upgrade the first food upgrade from the market, which is the hunting dog upgrade. So it will help me to gather from the hunting animals faster. So usually it's better to have that upgrade. So make sure if you have the ability to upgrade it to, I mean, usually you can just look through the map. There are treasures, you can collect the treasure with your explorer. So usually for age 1, what you want to do is look for the coin treasures and also the wood treasures. And make sure you don't let your explorer die. So usually if you see a treasure with 2 guardians, just go for it, and 1 guardian is even better. Preferably don't go for a treasure that has 3 guardians at age 1, because usually your explorer can't kill them all, except if it's like wolf or like weak unit, like monkeys, wolves. The other than these 2 units, the guardians can kill your explorer. I mean, if it's more than 3. Okay, and then the other thing I wanted to highlight, uh, don't don't think that playing is high quality is really good, because you can see everything so nice, so with, I mean, with good quality and all. So you don't want your game to have a lag or to have low FPS. So what you should do is just optimize your setting in a way that you have a smooth game. So the way to check if the game is smooth is just by looking your through your villager. So all these settings you can just go up and down, see which one is more suitable for you. For me, this setting is the best, but I mean, for you it can be different based on your computer performance. So again, as you can see, you just want to have a smooth game. As you can see, if you see your village, your units are like going slowly, that means your FPS is low. Or if you see like when you're moving the map like this, you don't have a smooth gameplay, that means you have to reduce your setting to have a smoother gameplay. The reason for that is usually in 3D games, since there's going to be walls, there's going to be buildings, there's going to be units and fighting. Usually so basically there's going to be so much data in one game. So what will happen is, if your setting is not optimized, your game will crash. Okay, so make sure your game is optimized so you won't have any crash or any freezes. So make sure to have that in your mind. Okay, the other thing that you should do, so after after you proceed to H2, you just want to gather some wood to do the upgrade for the mining. So there is 2 mining upgrade and 2 hunting upgrade inside the market. So for most of the civs you want to have both of them. And then for the wood upgrade, what I usually suggest is just to either do 1 or the first 2 upgrade. So the 3rd upgrade I usually do it after I reach to Imperial age. So just keep that in mind. And then for the wood, before you get to Imperial age, usually 2 or 3, depending on what civ you're playing. For French, between 2 to 4 is enough. I mean, it's more than enough to maintain building houses, so you can just have enough space for the villager. And then for most of the saves, what you want to have is at least have 100 population ready by age 4. Okay, so when you hit age 4, you want to have 100 population ready. The reason for that is just want to have enough population to build all of your villager. So the game plan is just age up as fast as possible to get to imperial age, and then the other thing is to just maintain building your villager until you reach the maximum amount. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And then again, if you have a trade post near you, make sure to get it. It will be good because you will get experience towards your next shipment. And then if you're playing in a team game, usually it's better to give the trade post to a player that is playing with European civ. So let's say if you're playing with Aztec and then your ally is playing with Germany, so it's better to let your ally to take the trading post, because with Aztec you can gather experience throughout your community plaza, so you don't need that much of experience from the trading post. So if you let your ally to control the post, they can get their cards faster, so they can be on their power spike faster as well. But then let's say if you're playing with two European civ, like let's say you are playing French, your ally playing with Germany, either of you can take it, but then personally I think giving the trade post to Germany is better, because after they get all of their upgrade card, they're just unstoppable because their units will be so strong. So personally I prefer to give the trading post to either Russian ally or Germany ally, and if these are not available, then to French ally. Okay, and then yeah, so as you can see, I have gathered enough resources for to upgrade both my hunting dog and then the second upgrade for the hunting animals, and then both of my coin gathering upgrade from here. Okay, so here as you can see, the second wood upgrade I haven't done it yet because at this point I just want to get up to H3. This one was a misclick. Okay, so you just want to, as you can see, I have 9 villager on food, 7 on coin. Usually the villagers will gather from the food from the hunting animals faster. So usually the gather rate from the hunting animal is faster than the gather rate from the coin mine. That's why you should have more villager on coin to gather more resources. But then as you can see, you just have to look through your resources to balance what you need. Okay, so now my plan is to build villager until I have enough resources to get to H3, which is 1200 food and then 1000 coin. So as you can see, since my villager is coming and then my coin is almost ready for the age up, I'm just saving, and then usually there are like different politicians, different contracts, but then so for each game, again, same like the treaty decks, you just, if you don't know what to choose properly, just go through the good players video, and also you can just refer to my videos to select your politician for the contracts of the age up. So for French, for age 3, the covered wagon is the best because you will have to spend 500 wood lesser to get the town center. So at this point, since I'm already aging up, I'm gathering the coin to have enough coin to do this upgrade. This one costs 150 food and 250 coin. So after you get this upgrade from the market for the wood cutting, you will just send around, I would say, depending on which civ you are playing, but for French, usually 7 villager is enough to gather enough wood to build another town center. So usually on whatever civ that you are playing, when you hit to age 3, you want to gather enough wood to build your town centers, to build the town centers and then train the villagers from all 3 town centers. So this is for most of the civs you have a build limit of 3 town center, except for Portuguese. They have for Portuguese, with each age up, they will get a covered wagon which transforms to a town center. So again, this is just a simple guide on what you should do. So if you want to learn, for example, Portuguese, just refer to my Portuguese video and then follow step by step on what to do. Okay, as you can see, 500 wood is enough for another town center to build with my explorer. Usually it's better to build the town center with your explorer and then let your villagers to do their work. Again, this has some exceptions. Like for example, with Ottoman, you usually want to build both of the town centers at the same time, because the Ottomans will produce with the villagers automatically. So the faster you build them, the better it is. So now, since I have enough wood for the town center, I'm moving my villagers to food. The reason for that is since I'm building 3 town centers, I need to have more food to produce villager from all 3 town centers. And then I'm leaving 3. The reason for that is to have enough wood to build houses, so I won't have any problem with my population. So usually when you hit age 3, you want to get these 2 cards. This one is the Royal Mint card. It will increase the gather rate for the all coin gather rates, and this one is for all food gather rate. Most of the civs have these 2 cards, especially the European civ, but there are some exceptions. Again, you can just refer to the video. So again, the reason I put one here, because I want to gather from these resources as well, and then I'm building one with my explorer at here, so I can gather from the center of the map as well. So usually you want to gather from the nature resources as much as you can, because the nature resources have higher gather rate until you get all of your for example meal cards, and then also if you have get to age 5 and then build your, do your last upgrade for the coin, food and the wood from the capital, then there is a different scenario. So again, at this point, I'm building this one with the covered again, this one with my explorer, and then building training villager with this one. So this one I'm training villager to go on a coin, this one again to coin, and then this one to food. The reason for this this setup is because I want to have more food, because I'm maintaining on villager production. Okay, so again, this one continues. As you can see, now I had enough resources to go to H4. So when that happened, just proceed with the H4 and then maintain the villager production with the other two town center, and then just wait until you age up. So usually with the European save, what you want to do is when you hit H4, always make sure to get your factory cards, both of them, and then make sure to place them in a safe place. Sorry. So regarding the factories and important buildings, like for example the Asian saves like Japan, they have the daimyo, the shogunate. So sorry, they have the shogunate, and then they have their shrines. So usually you want to build all those important buildings that you are not able to build them again in a safe place. The reason for that is basically if the enemy managed to destroy these important buildings, you will lose a power spike. Means you will be weaker in the game, either from the resources or from the military actions. So make sure to have them in a safe place. So here, since there is a trade route here, and then you cannot wall through the trade route. So usually what you want to do is build your important buildings away from water, which is this area, and also away from trade routes. So make sure to have that in your mind. Don't build your, for example, don't build your factory at this point, because the enemy can just put mortars near the road and then hit your factory through even without destroying your wall. So make sure to not do that mistake. And then the other thing that I do during my game is just build my house, the rest of my houses around my factories, so it will be extra protection for it. The other thing you can do is just build one layer of wall around your factory, and also same goes for other important buildings. So at this point, since I have built 90 population, I have enough population to build all of my villagers, because in case if you don't know, the French have 80 villagers build limit, so I will need only 80 population. But then again, this one is different for each different civs. Like for example, for Germany, each card that you send, you will get uhlans with them. So for sure with Germany, you just want to maximize your population as fast as possible, because you don't want to have your cards blocked, or you don't want to delay your villager production. So just keep that in your mind. And then so now the game plan is just simple. Since now I have oh, I think I've missed a part. Okay, so at this point, as you can see, I'm just gathering resources on both coin and food to just proceed with the Imperial Age. And then for French, since you have this fair trade card, make sure you will always get the food upgrades ready. This one, okay? So these will help your meals to gather faster. Then you can send the church card also. These are all for another video. These are extra tips, so just have them in your mind. So again, 4,000 food for 5 and then 4,000 coin is ready. So I just proceed with the age up, and then I have my other town centers on villager production. So for French, against all this, since you're not using mercenaries, the best option I think is the 2000 coin. But then there are some exceptions, like for example, if you are playing with against Lakota, or you are playing against Russia, since they're gonna use like a raid cav, so it's better to use this advanced hot air balloon card, so you can scout their base and then their units that they have for the early stage of the fight, so you know if you need to build anti-cavalry or not. But then again, these are depending on the match, but usually this one is better option for French. And then after you proceed with the Imperial Age, make sure to upgrade your last wood cutting upgrade from the market. So when you do that, your wood cutting is maximized. And then okay, I'm just gonna go a bit further. And then also one thing I forgot to mention, when you build your factories, whatever resources that you want to gather, make sure to upgrade this bottom this upgrades on the top. So this one is for the coin upgrade, this one is for the wood upgrade, this one is for the food upgrade. So when you do this upgrade sorry, each factory will have, I think it's 7.15 if I'm not mistaken, resource per second. Okay, so without this upgrade now it's 5.15 per second, but then after you do it's 7.15. so make sure to do that. Okay, so and then after you proceed with the Imperial Age, unless you have trained all of your villagers, make sure to just maintain on food gathering to have enough resources to train all of your villagers. And then as soon as you age up, if you get resources with the age up, just make sure to collect them. And then what you want to do with the European civ is just build the capital. So after you build the capital, there will be some upgrades. So this one is for the food upgrade, make sure you will hit it. This one for the wood, this one for the coin. So if in case you forget to upgrade these, later in the game you will face a big issue on your resources. You might have some difficulties on the resources, so make sure to always do these upgrade in your game. And then for the Asian civ, these upgrades for the wood upgrade is through the market, and then for the food and the coin upgrade is just inside the rice paddies. And then for the war chief civ, the food upgrade is through the meal, through the farm, and then the coin upgrade is through the estate, and then again for the wood upgrade is through the market, I mean the last wood upgrade. So make sure to have these in your mind throughout the game. Okay, so usually what I suggest is to not buy spy. The reason for that is usually when you hit to h5 and then the enemy is also at h5, they will have some population. So the more population and military and whatever units that they have inside the game, these spies will be more expensive. So you don't want to have these in your game unless you're playing against for example Lakota, or yeah, I would say only play against Lakota. It's good to have the spy so you can track the enemy. And then what else I wanted to explain? Oh yeah, so for the resource gathering, Usually it's better to, I've already explained, it's better to gather from the nature resources, like as such as the hunting animals, the coin mines, the wood, I mean the trees for the wood. Let's say if all these coins are finished and then there is no more food and you still need food to proceed with the age up, it's fine. Then just build a meal and then make sure to upgrade it to the last upgrade. So for the meals they have 2 upgrades, and then for the plantations they have 3 upgrades, so make sure to hit them. And then what else? So yeah, and then the other thing that you can do is in case if your civ is weak on wood and you really need the wood throughout the game, always do this upgrade. I mean, it's always better to do this upgrade, because if the enemy attack your base and destroy your houses, your population will drop, then you have to build the houses again. So when you do this upgrade, it will automatically set your population limit to 100, and then you will need like at least I would say 10 more houses, sorry, 9 more houses, except one town center, to have 200, which is the max population. And then just keep that in mind, each town center have 10 population on them. So usually it's better to build all of your houses, and then also do this upgrade to be safe during the battle. And then if you plan to use the native warriors, make sure to upgrade this, because it will increase their HP and their attack damage. Okay, so that is that. So again, depending on what civ you are playing, the game strategy is different. But then since this match I'm playing with friends. So in case if you don't know, the friends have a card that is called Fair Trade. It will, when you send that card, it will transform all of your food to multiplied by, I think it's 1.2 or 1.25 of the same amount to coin. So you will have a greater amount for a coin limit. For a coin. So with French, what you want to do is just gather food inside your meals when you hit H5. So gather as much as food as possible, and then also make sure you will have at least I would say 17 no, I would say 18 to 20 villagers on wood, so you will have enough wood to do your military upgrade, your buildings and all. So okay, I just proceed further. I don't want to explain in detail. So again, as you can see, the other thing I noticed, I've seen some players, they just build their meals randomly, like they will leave some space. Same goes for all other building. You don't want to do that in treaty games, because you want your base to be as compact as possible, so you can build a wall around your economy base, and then again you need at least 3 layers of wall for the outer layer. Usually what I do is build a 2 layer around my economy, and then build a 3 layer at the furthest point possible. So I'm just gonna proceed further. But then since this map, as you can see my meals, I mean the area of the map that I have to build is not much. And then for the treaty games, there is a build limit for the through your match, so make sure to always check that build limit, so you won't build your economy buildings like the mills or state or the factories in a bad place. So you usually want to have your mills and factories in a place that you can wall it completely. But then, since as you can see there is a trade route on this map, my mills are so close to the trade route. Okay, so what by right what you should do is build some barracks, some stables, some artillery foundry at the outer layer, and then put 3 layers, and then behind these walls have another set of barracks, stable, and artillery foundry, and then again have another 1 or 2 layer around your economy buildings. So for the European Civ, what you want to have is this arsenal. It's this building. Make sure to build it after you get Imperial. So when you build this, there are some upgrades that is for your cavalry, artillery, and then your infantry as well. And then there is a card called Advanced Arsenal. Make sure to have that card in your deck for all the European Civ, because those, after you get that card, there will be another set of upgrade inside your arsenal, so make sure to upgrade those arsenal upgrades as well. And then make sure to upgrade your outpost to the maximum level always. As you can see, there will be like falconet thingies outside the outpost, so you want to have this always, because during the battle, if you have like infinite shipments, like the native infinite shipments, you just set the shipment point through your building. I'm not sure if I have selected. Okay, so you just want to have them upgrade, so they will do extra damage to enemy units, and also they will have more HP, and they're more sustainable during the fight. So if you have infinite shipments, unit shipments, you can just click on this outpost and then set the waypoint, which is, I think, is a red button, and then just start the game. I mean, to set the shipment point, and then send, and then the units will be sent through this shipment point. So usually during the battle, you want to have this outpost, or like for example for Russian ally, they will have blockhouses, which is a mix of barracks and outposts. So you just want to have them inside your map. So the other thing I want to explain, don't just set these building and then send your units from all the way back. Make sure when the battle is starting, have when it's like 1 minute to the battle, have your military ready. So usually it's better to be in the center of the map, or just press your enemy as further as possible. But then if you see your enemy is behind your base, don't press too much, because firstly you will need to defend your base, then attack. So just keep that in mind. And then the other thing I see, like most new players are struggling, is their problem with the cav rates. So as you can see here, is this map has a trade route, and you cannot wall the trade route. So what you can do for such a map is just wall on the both side of the trade route, as you can see. So when you do, the enemy units have to go only through the trade route. So the next thing that you do to stop the enemy cavalry to reach out to the end of the trade route, so what the enemy usually do is just go to the end of the trade route with their raid cavalry, and then break through here, and then go to your economy buildings. Okay, so one way to defend this without any unit, and then just block them without doing anything, is just build a livestock, and then send your livestock to the maximum level. Is I think it's 30 livestock to the trade route. Okay, I'm just gonna fast forward. Okay, as you can see, if you place them badly, they still can pass through. But then here was I put a gate, that's why my units was going through. Okay. Oops. Why did I close the video? Okay, 1 second. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so I think I was here. Okay, so now let's see. I've set these livestock. Usually it's better to have all 30 of them at this point. So as you can see, I'm just setting them in a way that is like completely blocking the way. So as you can see, even my own cavalry cannot pass through here. As you can see, whatever I do, they will stuck behind these livestock. So what will happen is this livestock will just block the enemy units or whatever unit. So make sure to have these in a way that there is no gates on the both side. So if you want to have gates for your own unit, make sure to have it before and after these blockage. So by doing this, you will be more safe. So just keep that in mind as well. Okay, so this one was I think I would say like the very basic things that the new players should know about playing treaty games. And then this one was a small tip to stop the enemy raid cavalry, and then make sure to always do counter units attack, and then don't do like 1 units per game, like that. For example, don't just use all infantry in one game, or don't use all cavalry in one game, because if the enemy is decent, they will just do counter unit and then they can win you very easy. So what you want to do is just upgrade whatever unit that you need, that is necessary. Again, to know what units you need to upgrade, just refer to the videos, the treaty videos, and then you would know which units are important to upgrade. And then just a small tip: if you see a cavalry unit with a sword or something, they are called heavy cavalry. So to counter them, you can just use range cavalry. And then also you can do your musketeers, or in case if you have any melee infantry, you can use them. But make sure to always use the units that cost food and coin for the late game, because in late game you don't want to have the units that cost wood to use them, because the wood will eventually finish. Whatever you do, the wood will finish. Okay, and then make sure to have the artilleries with you during the battle. These are the covering, so they are good against other artillery. They have a longer range. So, and then these are the horse artillery. They are good against enemy units, especially the infantries. Not so good against cavalry. And then there are some other artillery called mortar. Most of you, I think, have seen it. They are good against destroying buildings, walls, and so on. So, and then let's say if the enemy use these hand cavalry, use range cavalry again, or use melee infantry to kill them. And then if the enemy using like range cavalry, use your skirmisher type or your musketeer type. They will do decent damage to range cavalry. And then if your enemy use melee infantry, just use skirmisher type, or use artilleries, horse artillery, to just destroy their infantry. So there are like counter units for each civ. I will explain them in another video because this one will be too lengthy. So I hope you guys have a better idea for about treaty games, and I hope I don't see like a deck with units or like useless cards inside them. So hopefully we will have a better game and more decent games inside the treaty games. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a bit long, but if you want to have a better idea about treaty games, make sure to check through check through this video and also my other treaty games for the deck selection and also the game procedure with each civ. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, find it useful, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like the video if you find anything useful in it and learn something from it. And hope to see you guys in the upcoming videos.